Hello everybody, Board Game Lawyer here. It is a Saturday evening and I thought I'd do some Saturday night twitching with some Marvel Champions from Fantasy Flight Games. And so if we go down to the table, we'll take a look at the challenge that I'm going to take on this evening. Actually, this is a critical challenge. And let me read the setup for this particular challenge here. This is the Critical Challenge Week 3, so this is put out by our friends over at Critical Encounters Podcast. They've been putting together some summer challenges for us, and so hopefully we'll do well with this one. Let's read what the rules are for this particular setup. So this is Critical Challenge Week 3, new toys. It says it's time to have some summer fun in Week 3 with a bunch of new toys. Crossbones has teamed up with Lady Deathstrike, Tombstone, and the Brothers Grimm to try out a bunch of different toys. Find out if they're just a minor interference or a Grimm challenge. So the scenario is Crossbones, and the modular sets that we're asked to include is Running Interference, Brothers Grimm, and the Deathstrike modular set. Now there are some special rules for the setup here. It says when building the experimental weapons deck, use only the attachment cards from the included above modular sets. Do not use the experimental weapon modular. And be sure you leave crossbone attachments in the encountered deck. So our hero is any choice. So the hero that I picked for this evening is my Kitty Pryde Shadowcat. I call it my Leroy Jenkins deck. And we are going to be playing in Aggression. So the difficulty is any. We're going to do Standard because that's fun. There's also a Hardcore mode that says after setup, reveal one additional card from the top of the experimental weapons deck. So ouch. An additional one. Well, I'm going to go Hardcore anyway. Since I'm playing in Standard, why not? See how we do. So what I did was I did remove the experimental weapons deck. So if you look over here, if we go over to the encounter cards, we'll notice that there at the bottom of the page, there's 9 different attachments that are in those 3 different modular sets. Some of them are items and some of them are just simply attachments. Some of them are attachments that go on the hero. And those are all included in that experimental weapons deck. And I'm going to give it a quick shuffle since I don't know if I did. We'll shuffle that up. We'll go ahead and shuffle up our encounter deck too, just to be sure. And let's flip back over to our hero hand. But let's go ahead and take a look at the attack on Mount Athena. That is our main scheme tonight. And so it tells us that our setup is to create the experimental weapons deck and set it next to the main scheme deck. And that's all we do. So we've already taken care of that. We'll go ahead and flip our card. And it reads, Attack on Mount Athena. The text on there says, when revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. So let's do that. Let's reveal that top card, and it is an Unbreakable Thread. It says attached to a mystic minion. There's none on the table. If you cannot attach to the villain, forced response after attached enemy activates against you, discard this card. Choose and discard one ally, support, or upgrade you control and deal yourself one face down encounter card. Okay. Discard this card. All right. So we're going to attach that over here to Crossbones. Crossbones says that while he has a weapon attachment, his attacks gain piercing. Discard any tough status cards from the target before dealing damage. I don't know if any of these are actually weapons. I didn't look closely enough in that deck, but I'm not sure if any of the experimental weapons are actually weapons. But they are some pretty nasty attachments. We'll give it that. So let's take a look and see what we've got over here on our hero sides. Of course, our Shadowcat alter ego is Kitty Pryde. She has 3 recovery. She has a setup, which is to put your mass form upgrade into play solid side face up. And then during the phase control action, you can flip your mass form upgrade, and you can do this a limit of once per round. So the solid upgrade says mass form, permanent. Hero resource, exhaust this card and generate a fist resource for an attack or defense event. Response, after you attack or defend in solid mass form, flip this card. All right. So that is our alter ego Kitty Pryde. She comes into play. She has a hand size of 6 with 9 hit points on her. Let's see what was dealt to us here at the beginning of the game. So we got Lockheed in our hand. We also have a Piercing Strike, which is great if your villain has a tough status card on him. We also have Warning, which I recently determined is a pretty good card. I've never used Warning, really. I never really included Warning in a deck before purposefully, but it says when a hero would take any amount of damage, reduce that amount by 1. Importantly, it's an interrupt defense card, and we'll see how that works. Quick Shift, which is a hero interrupt, but it's a defense interrupt. We also have Angel, who, when we're a mutant or X-Men trait, he's -1 cost. So Kitty Pryde is mutant. She's also X-Men, and we got some energy. So we know we're not going to be defending here on our first hero phase. So let's get some of these defense cards. We'll hang on to Lockheed, why not? And we'll also Piercing Strike. We don't really have a tough status card on Crossbones, so we'll get rid of the Piercing Strike too. And we'll go ahead and draw 3 more cards for our hand. All right, we got Yarnborn, Warning, Acute Control, which is a hero response. After you ignore the guard or patrol keyword on a minion, exhaust Acute Control and deal 2 damage to that minion. Okay. I'm liking what I'm seeing here in my hand. All right, so we've finished our setup. We've done our mulligans. And so now after setup, we're going to use that hardcore mode, which is to reveal another experimental weapon from the experimental non-weapon deck. All right, and let's see what this one is. This one is Adamantium Upgrades. Attached to an enemy without a copy of Adamantium Upgrades attached. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. Attached enemies attack gain Piercing, and we can use as a hero action. So this is really going to up his attack ability, these Adamantium Upgrades. It's like he's got claws on him now. So he's got some Unbreakable Thread. He's got some Adamantium Upgrades on him. So we may have to start thinking about possibly removing at least those Adamantium Upgrades. That's not what you want to see right now. And do I even have the requirements for it? It takes a mental, a physical, and an energy resource to do that. We could. That would basically bomb my turn, but all right. Let's determine if we want to stay in our alter ego form or in our solid form. And we'll begin the game. All right. So mass form, I don't think we have any attack events now in my hand, no, to start the game off with. So that resource is not really necessary. But we are certainly probably going to attack, and we probably need to get rid of those Adamantium Upgrades, because that could really, an extra 2 attack every turn could really be bad. So we've got Warning, we've got Acute Control, and we've got Lockheed, which we could use to get rid of those claws. Let's just kind of sort our cards here for a second. Energy to put out Angel. And we'll hang on to Yarnborn. Actually, we'll use Yarnborn. Hate to do that. But yeah, I want to get rid of the Adamantium Upgrades. So let's flip over to our hero form. So we're now in Shadowcat form. She has, as her ability here, Selective Intangibility. While you are in a phased masked form, Shadowcat ignores the guard and patrol keywords and any crisis icons in play. So now that we're in hero form, let's try to go ahead and get rid of those Adamantium Upgrades. It's going to be 3 cards to do that. So we're going to use Lockheed. We'll also use Yarnborn, and we'll use Acute Control. We'll spend those 3 cards to get rid of those Adamantium Upgrades. Hopefully we don't see those again. I think there's 2 copies in that experimental weapons deck, so yeah, we got to get rid of those. All right, so we can go ahead and put Angel out. So he's -1. So we'll use energy to do that. And then when Shadowcat, when she attacks, she flips over to her phased form. So yeah, we'll go ahead and do some attacking. So Shadowcat's going to hit Crossbones for 2. And then we'll flip over to our phased form. And then Angel is going to also attack Crossbones for 2. And we'll give him 1 consequential damage for doing so. All right, so I'm going to hang on to that Warning. Again, it says defense. When a hero would take any amount of damage, reduce that amount by 1. Do I need to take damage in order to play the interrupt? When a hero would take any amount of damage, reduce that amount by 1. Maybe that warning card's not such a good one. In Shadowcat, I was kind of thinking that maybe, but it says when a hero would take any amount of damage, reduce that amount by 1. And it's a defense event. Well, we'll just hang on to it for now. We'll go ahead and advance the phase. And what do we draw in our hand? We got our drop kick, we got Mockingbird, Ironheart, Shadowcat, Surprise, and that warning card. So we do at least have 3. Yeah, we've got 3 fist resources to spend for a drop kick if that's convenient. Anyway, we'll go ahead and put that one attack or that one threat on attack on Mount Athena. Crossbones is going to attack. Now let's read this. It says, force response after attached enemy activates against you. Discard this card, choose and discard 1 ally, support, or upgrade you control, and do yourself 1 face down encounter card. Okay, so that's that unbreakable thread. So Crossbones is going to attack. We'll go ahead and defend. So she has a defense of 2, and he attacks for 1, 2, 3. And the force response says, after you attack or defend in phase mass form, flip this card. It says that while Shadowcat is defending, she cannot take damage. Okay, so she's not going to take damage. We'll get rid of that. We'll flip over to our solid form. And now in our solid form, it says, after attached enemy activates against you, discard this card, choose and discard an ally or support. So we're going to have to discard Angel. And deal yourself 1 face down encounter card. Okay. So that means that we're going to get a face down encounter card. Then we go to the encounter phase. And so now we have 2 cards. The first one is Lady Deathstrike. She has Quick Strike. It says, after Lady Deathstrike attacks and damages a character, that character's owner discards 1 random card from their hand. Ouch. Okay, so she's going to attack me for 2. And I'm in solid form. Now this is an attack. It says, after Lady Deathstrike attacks and damages a character, that character's owner discards. So if I did this, when a hero would take any amount of damage, reduce that amount by 1. It would be a defense, and that would flip me over into my phased form, but I will take the damage. So let's go ahead and take the 2 damage. Reduce it by 1 or hang on to it? Nah, I think we'll just go ahead and take the 2 damage, and then we'll have to discard a random card from our hand. And we lost Shadowcat, Surprise. Surprise, surprise. Okay, and then our other encounter card is Shadow of the Past. Wow, 2 great, wonderful, fantastic encounter cards right here at the beginning of the game. So it says to reveal our set-aside nemesis. So let's see which one that is. We got the Hellfire Pawn. We got another Hellfire Pawn. That is not the nemesis. The White Queen is a nemesis, and she is a member of the Hellfire Club. So that side scheme comes into play. White Queen comes into play. She is villainous. It says, while White Queen is engaged with you, you are confused. Shadowcat's nemesis minion. Alright, and then her Hellfire Club card says, when defeated, the player who defeated the scheme searches the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for a copy of the Hellfire Pawn minion and puts it into play, engaged with them. Alright. We're going to shuffle those other 3 cards there into our encounter deck. Boy, good thing I played Standard today. And let's get those shuffled in. Shuffle, shuffle. There we are. Alright, so I'm exhausted. I do have the drop kick. And Villainous says, while White Queen is engaged with you, you are confused. Huh. Drop kick. I do think that I am going to drop kick. I can draw a card if I drop kick, and I'm in solid form right now, so I can attack using one of these fist resources to draw a card. And I can use Warning and Mockingbird to do the drop kick. We also have Lady Deathstrike out on the table that we got to contend with. We've got Lady Deathstrike and the White Queen. That is like a couple of dangerous folks here. Yeah, we need to get rid of Lady Deathstrike and the White Queen. Drop kick only does 4 damage, so I can't drop kick. I'm exhausted right now. And so let's see what we want to do. I think for sure, you know, let's just stun Crossbones. Why not? Yeah, let's do it. We're gonna drop kick Crossbones. We use Mockingbird. We'll use the Warning, and we'll also use Solid to attack Crossbones, doing 4 damage to him. And if you paid for this card using only Fist resources, stun the enemy and draw a card. So we're going to stun him. And we get to draw a card. And it is another drop kick. Not exactly what I was after, but that's fine. So we did attack, so we need to flip over to our other form. Hellfire Club. I'm going to move my schemes over here. I'll move my ladies up here next to Crossbones for now. So, do I want to flip down into Alter Ego form? There'll be quite a bit of scheming going on if that's the case, but I think I will. I'm going to go ahead and flip over into Kitty Pryde, and I will advance the phase. Okay, so what do we get? We got drop kick, we got phased and confused, we have intangible interference, also another phased and confused, and an airwalk. Remove 2 threat from a scheme 4 if you're in phased masked form. Again, it says while the White Queen is engaged with us, we are confused. I guess I don't know if we have to clear the confused. Add confuse. So we're confused and we can't clear it while she's engaged with us. While she's engaged with you, you are confused. Alright, so whenever she's not engaged with us anymore, when we defeat her, does the confused card just go away? Questions from readers. Alright. So yeah, let's go ahead and begin Crossbones' turn. So he's going to place 1 threat, 2 threat actually. I didn't realize that. Hellfire Club has an acceleration icon on it. So attack on Mount Athena is going to immediately pop. I was hoping to be able to get by for a turn. Let's just have to flip once, but we may lose this one early. All right, let's go ahead and discard that. Now the Infinity Stone comes out into play. There's no text on here necessarily, just some flavor text. So we're going to flip over to side 2B, and it says the Infinity Stone, when revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. Alright, we're going to put that weapon potentially next to Crossbones. And so let's go find out what that is. We draw a Corrosive Egg Bomb attached to a Mystic minion. Do I have one? No. And then it says, if you cannot attach to the villain, after the attached enemy activates against you, discard this card, take 3 indirect damage, and deal yourself 1 face down encounter card. Ooh. So even when he activates against us in my alter ego form, I take indirect damage. I have no way to really block that here necessarily. So Crossbones is now going to activate against us, and he's going to scheme for 1 plus 2. 3 threat on the Infinity Stone. And so now we discard. After the attached enemy activates against you, discard this card, take 3 indirect damage, and deal yourself 1 face down encounter card. 1, 2, 3. And the encounter card is here. We'll just set it right over there on the Infinity Stone for now. White Queen is going to scheme. She is villainous, so she's going to draw a card. And it is 2. So we're going to do 3 more on the Infinity Stone, which is going to cause that Infinity Stone to pop and send us into the final. Yeah, it's going to send us into the getaway. So again, no text on here, just flavor text. We'll flip over, and it says, when revealed, reveal the top card of the experimental weapons deck. If the stage is completed, the players lose the game. So let's take a look at that experimental weapons deck one more time. And it says that we have Blackbird pellets now to deal with. It says attach to a mystic minion. If you cannot attach to the villain, force response. After the attached enemy activates against you, discard this card. Discard 1 card random from your hand and deal yourself 1 face down. Encounter card. We got more Blackbird pellets to deal with. Alright, so that was White Queen. Then Lady Deathstrike. She's also going to place 1 threat on the main scheme. Now this thing schemes out at 5. So this game just went from, like, in round 2, 0 to 100 for Crossbones. And we haven't even dealt with the encounter cards yet. So let's see what the first one is. Probably an advance. I'm just going to call it advance. Nope, it's Hellfire Pawn. He's a guard who has patrol and surge. So we got another minion out on the table who is going to surge into this card. Well, let's look at this other one first. It is caught off guard. Discard an upgrade or support you control. If no cards were discarded this way, this card gains surge. Well, I don't think I can discard any cards because the phased form is a permanent upgrade. So it looks like this one's going to surge as well. So we'll discard that. And we'll deal ourselves another encounter card. This one reads Crossbones Assault. So now we've got another side scheme out on the table. It says, when defeated, Crossbones activates against the player who defeated the scheme. And we have yet another acceleration icon on the table. So 1 more encounter card. And why not? Yeah, let's have a couple of Crossbones Assaults on the table. So now we've got 3 minions. We've got an attachment. And we've got 3 side schemes, all with acceleration icons on it. What are my chances? Well, at least Crossfire's stunned. At least I got that, right? Man, I shouldn't have flipped down. I'm still confused. And that's true. I can't even drop kick and stun anybody because I don't have enough fist resources. So heal, attack. We've got guard and patrol on the table, so I can't even do anything with the getaway. I think this game is out of control. Out of control. I'm going to flip. I'm confused. I can't even remove threat off of the Crossbones Assault because we got Miss White Queen on the table. We can get rid of the White Queen. Let's do that. Let's flip. Before we flip, let's do this. Let's go ahead and change into our other form. Flip into our solid form. We are going to spend. Okay. We're gonna use the solid form here. The resource on it. Exhaust it. And spend phased and confused. And another phased and confused to do a drop kick onto the White Queen. Okay. Discard. Card. Shadowcat. Oh, boy. Airwalk. if I put Ironheart out, I still got to clear the confused, I think. It says, while White Queen is engaged with you, you are confused. So when she's not engaged with me anymore, am I not confused? It didn't say could put a confused card necessarily on Shadowcat. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to knock out the White Queen. Discarding her. Okay, good. Oh, man. So we're no longer confused. We'll just remove that. That's how I'll play it. I'll look up the rule later. So the next question is Ironheart or the Airwalk? I think the Airwalk, 2 threat. Okay, so we flip to our flip card. We flip to our phased form. Airwalk says that it's a thwart. Remove 2 threat from a scheme, 4 threat if you're in phased mass form. And this one says after you ignore the crisis icon on a scheme, exhaust intangible interference, remove 2 threat from that scheme. I don't have enough resources for all that. I'm out of money. Leroy Jenkins' deck just did what it basically is named after. We tried to go Leroy Jenkins, and it wasn't happening against Crossbones today. We'll just go ahead and do an Airwalk. Yeah, why not? We'll just moonwalk right over the Crossbones Assault. We'll get rid of it. Discard card only because we want to see Crossbones activates against the player who defeated this scheme. Go ahead, do it. Go ahead, Crossbones, activate against us. So he's got these Blackbird pellets that he's going to use. He's stunned, so he's not going to. Hey, something to be said about stunning the villain. All right, so we are going to advance the phase. Unfortunately, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3 threat to place on the getaway, and I don't think there's anything we can do about that. No, we got nothing. We got nothing. So Crossbones takes the day using Brothers Grimm gimmicky items, not even weapons, along with his posse. Yeah, Deathstrike, not a cream puff by any means. White Queen can really jam you up. Hellfire pawns are just that. They're pawns. They get in the way. And so it's fun. So I'm going to report a loss to Critical Encounters for their summer fun challenge. And it's fun for villains, right? Whenever this kind of thing happens. So I'll go ahead and do that. And if you want to take part in the summer challenges that the Critical Encounters podcast is putting on, be sure to check them out. You can find them on Facebook. You can find them on Discord. And you can find links to this particular challenge and others that you can test out your deck against. So it's a lot of fun. And there's even some gifts to give away at the very end for those who might win some prizes. So OP gifts, in fact. So worthwhile doing it. So thanks for watching my video today. And hope to bring you another one again very soon. Take care.